If I woke up at 30% body fat, these are the 10 underrated habits that I would do. And essentially, I've woken up at 30% body fat 5 times over the last decade. I would describe my body as one being endomorphic. I can gain fat very easily, but I can also gain muscle very quickly. And losing fat is very difficult. And I'm just like you, where things are complicated, things don't move the way I wanted to. I need to work hard. But what I finally realized with these 10 underrated habits I'm gonna share with you, you need to work smart, and there's going to be science each and every single decision that you'll be making moving forward, both mental, physically, and emotionally. Step 0, the underrated habit. The last time I woke up at 30% body fat, I came off stepping off stage and the doctor told me I need to go in for surgery, and I couldn't train for the next 8 months. It was the most depressing time in my life. I was eating pizzas, I was eating cookies. There was no reason for me to want to stay in shape, and I let go completely. And honestly, I looked at myself in the mirror and I was very disgusted once I finally woke up. It was the day I decided enough was enough. You need to be able to look in the mirror and ask yourself, is this truly who I am and who I want to be? I went through that exercise very recently on my birthday, and after going through this step 0, since then I'm down 11 pounds plus. My main selling point, besides my mind, is my body. That is going to be what makes someone believe if this person is who he really says he is. And what I realized about how I looked in 2024, becoming a men's physique pro, I came second place in that show. And if I compare 2021 and 2024, one of the 2 times out of the 5 I transformed my physique, 2021 was definitely much better. And in all honesty, I was so much more locked in. It wasn't the best version of me in 2024. And I told myself, I need to be able to beat that 2021 version of Mike. I don't want to remember my last show as Mike placing second. And I've been celebrating the pro card, but honestly, I still came second. And that's been eating away at me. And I said, no way. That's not going to be the legacy that I leave for myself. Just for myself. I don't care what other people think. But I need to know that I became a pro and I became a champion. I need to know that I did that and I was capable of that. And also for my business, I have more than 10 people, medical doctors, operating managers under the company. And I know I need to lead them and I need to set an example, both mentally and physically. I want to be able to grow my company, and I understand that being at peak physical condition the right way is going to be the way that I can share my message. And I'm working on that already. I'm down 11 pounds and I'm going to share with you the 10 things that I'm doing right now that is allowing me to easily reach that, so you can copy me. Step 0 to flip the switch is to realize who you are right now and realize who you need to become. Step number 1, that is an underrated habit that I do each and every single day, is I wake up early. Waking up early is the first difficult task you accomplish in the day because it is going to be an indicator of your discipline. If you wake up at 10 a.m. or 11 a.m., essentially you're already going to say, I don't have time to do all these other things. All the excuses start piling up. But when you wake up early, hitting the 5 a.m., 6 a.m., 7 a.m., whatever works for you, there will be a rush of endorphin because it's a signal to your mind and to your body that you've already won and you're already ahead of everybody. And if you're a person who hasn't been able to accomplish anything so far with your physique, waking up early will be the first vote that you'll be casting for the new version that you want to set yourself. And wake up at 5 a.m. for a week. Just set yourself that challenge and see how much more you're capable of doing. But waking up early for me is essential, that it kickstarts my day and I get this rush of endorphin and I have no excuse to not accomplish the work and the physical work that I need to do on my body and on my business to be able to accomplish what I want to accomplish. The first thing I do is I step on the scale. Why the scale is so important? Research has shown that when individuals step on a scale consistently, even beyond a dieting phase or losing weight, that they have a 50% chance more compared to everybody else to keep the weight off. Why? Because it's a process of self-monitoring. Example, if you step on the scale and you see that the scale is going down, it will give you a level of confidence and a level of motivation for that to continue happening. In the opposite direction, let's say you step on the scale again and you see that the weight scale has gone up. It will influence your decisions and the mistakes you're making, like not weighing your food or deciding to have a bite of your wife's Kit Kat or whatever snack that you're having that you shouldn't be having, or the drinks you had last night. It will send a vote to tell you, hey, today, let's skip on the drink or let's skip on adding too much sauce. And it's an amazing way to self-monitor. Don't get so emotionally attached to the scale. All that scale is, it's a compass. If it's going down, you're going to your true north. If it's going up, you need to be able to assess what you're doing in a day-to-day that is not helping you or that is helping you. And the second underrated habit that I do each and every single day is meditation. I would not be here in front of you right now as a medical doctor, as a bodybuilder, if I never meditated. And I used to be on the camp thinking, that's a waste of time, it's very woo-woo. What help does it have? I'm a man of science. And what I've realized, in our bodies, we have a set of nervous systems. We have our sympathetic nervous system, our fight or flight, and we have our parasympathetic nervous system. Parasympathetic is happening in the background, and sympathetic is the fight or flight. You know, if you need to fight, if something happens to you in the moment, stress, you get a stress factor, you respond to it. The parasympathetic, it is responsible for your heart beating, for your lungs breathing, all these things that are functioning without your brain, without you actively thinking about it. And when you focus on your parasympathetic nervous system, it has the ability to bring down your natural cortisol levels. Yes, cortisol is important, but we want to keep it low so we can lose fat. The best way I like explaining cortisol is it's the complete opposite of testosterone. Testosterone, we know, will help you build muscle, it will give you energy, it will give you confidence, and it will burn fat, and it will improve your metabolism. In the opposite direction, cortisol will slow down your metabolism, it will burn muscle instead of fat, it will take away your energy, it will make you feel very low energy, it'll keep you very stressed, and losing fat becomes very difficult. So we want to keep our cortisol as low as possible. So with meditation and yoga, what all those tasks do is make you focus on one thing. And when you can focus in on one thing, like your breathing, or when you're just focusing on the chair that you're sitting in, when you really center yourself, is the way they explain it in meditation, it allows you to really focus on the parasympathetic part of your body, and it brings your cortisol levels down. So number one, it can be journaling, just writing 3 things that you're grateful for. It can be using the Calm app like I do. So I'll sit down in a corner and I'll go through a 10-minute meditation exercise. And for those of you who are still not convinced, meditation, in my personal opinion, is the closest thing to a bench press for the mind, right? In the beginning, it's going to be very heavy, but as you practice this, you'll get stronger and stronger, and you'll be able to control the ideas that come into your mind and exit your mind. Underrated habit number 3 is I go for a walk in the morning. I put the dog's leashes on and I go for a walk with my wife. At the moment, I have a minimum step goal of 15,000 steps, and look at my chart. Every day I hit over 15,000 steps. And remember, 10 minutes of walking is going to give you 1,000 steps. And we know walking will tap into fat stores. And for all those benefits, waking up early in the morning and doing walking as your first form of exercise is amazing. And because I wake up in the morning, I hit my 10,000 steps, and again, fat just comes melting off. And again, my overall goal is 15,000. Yours may be 10, but taking steps and walking in the morning is pivotal towards me being able to reach that step goal that I need to hit every day. Underrated habit number 4 is fasting. And out of the 5 transformations I've ever completed, each and every single transformation needed fasting as a foundation, and I'll explain why. In simple terms, fasting, or time-restricted feeding, just restricts the times that you eat and you don't eat, and your body can adapt to when you turn it on and off. So let's assume fasting is the off state. When the lights are switched off, your body, number 1, will be able to improve its autophagy. When your body's off, it's getting rid of all the waste materials in your body. Number 2, for your brain, it improves a thing called your BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor. This improves the synapses in your brain. Not only that, it's amazing for your blood markers, it's amazing for your cholesterol levels. Everything just improved. But in the case of fat loss, very simply, without even getting too complicated, because I restricted the time I was eating, it just made being in a caloric deficit, which is essential for going from 30% body fat to 10%, it made it so much easier. The next benefit that not a lot of people talk about with fasting is that because you're essentially saving all your calories, all your money for the smaller period, you get a wider range of foods that you can eat. So in my diet, which I'll tell you about more, I'm eating tacos, I'm eating ice cream, I'm eating the foods I enjoy, so it doesn't make me feel like I'm in a diet. But in the morning, what I do to help my fasting window to keep my insulin levels low is I'll drink a cup of black coffee. You're good to go with sparkling water. You're good to go with anything 0 calorie. Sometimes I'll even make a decision to just have a scoop of pre-workout as my caffeine source and go train immediately. Keeping my insulin levels low for a minimum of 16 hours helps me tap into the fat stores because my body essentially is using what it has as a source of energy. So I highly recommend this. If you're a beginner, if you're at 30% body fat, do a thing I called progressive fasting. Start fasting for 12 hours and then eat in a 12-hour window period, right? So for example, have your first meal at 8 a.m. and your last meal at 12 p.m. And then after about a week or two, as you start cutting down your calories, go from a 12-12 to a 14-10. So instead of having breakfast at 8 a.m., you want to then push it by 2 more hours and have your breakfast at 10 a.m. for the next version of progressive fasting, which is 16-8. That's always how I start. So essentially, I should eat in an 8-hour window period. So at 12 o'clock is when I can break my fast, and then my last meal at 8 p.m. Or you can have your first meal at 1 p.m. and then shift that by an hour to 9 p.m. And that is the classic 16-8. But take a look at what Andrew Huberman has to say about what people's true fasting times are.
But if you look at the science on intermittent fasting, it's pretty remarkable. Anyway, Sachin has published papers, peer-reviewed papers in very good journals like Cell and elsewhere, showing that limiting the consumption of calories to 8, 4, 6, or 8, or even 10 hours of every 24-hour cycle, and keeping that more or less correlated with the light, with when the sun is out, leads to less liver disease, improved metabolic markers, less body fat.
And usually 16-8, you can start at 2,500 calories. When you're at 18-6, right, that's like the 2,200 calories. When you're eating that amount, that works perfectly. When I'm under 2,000 calories, I go for the 20 hours of fasting and then eating in a 4-hour window period. So literally going from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. as an eating window. But when you progressively build it, you're teaching your body how to know when it's in a fasted state and in a fed state. So this level of control is important. Underrated habit number 5, I hit the gym in the morning. Hitting the gym in the AM compared to the PM is so much better. With all the busy professionals I've ever worked with all of my clients, when they were able to do training in the morning, they just had a more productive day. When you finish with resistance training, the usual thought of doing it in the morning is like, damn, I'm gonna be tired. But actually the opposite, you get more energy. So when you're training, it will release a hormone called endorphins. Endorphins will make you feel good and it will energize you. So I've noticed with my clients, when they train in the morning, they find themselves so much more productive. And I want you guys to let me know in the comments, when do you train? In the afternoon and in the morning? And how does that affect your success level? Are you more productive or less productive? Let people know so that they can see actually training in the morning works, or what your opinion is. Again, everybody's different depending on the work you're doing, but in my personal experience, training in the morning is very beneficial. So with resistance training, why that is such an essential habit is the way I look at muscle is like your long-term investment. It's so much easier for me to lose fat just because I have so much muscle. It's gonna become even more important in your 30s, 40s, and 50s in your ability to burn fat. So the way I resistance train, I'm training 5 times in a week. And because I want you to succeed, on the screen right now, I'm gonna share with you a 3-day training plan, 4-day training plan, a 5-day training plan. Just use that to get started. It wasn't built custom to your body, but it's better than nothing. And I just want to see you win. That's all I want. I am tracking every single exercise I'm doing, and I'm tracking what weight I used so that I can determine if I'm getting stronger. Building muscle isn't about how heavy the weight is. It is about the quality of the contraction and the relaxation of that muscle. And doing it with good quality and good form is essential so you can be efficient and you're not just wasting your time. Underrated habit number 6, cardio. Cardio can be a waste of time if you don't have your diet in check. Let me explain. Let's say you add too much oil, right? And I'm showing you a video here of the differences in oil and how many calories are in there. Or if you're adding too much sauces to your meal, or if you're not weighing your food. It's so easy to take your body out of a caloric deficit. If you're not losing weight, it's very likely that you're just eating too much. It's simple. So cardio can help really accelerate your ability to lose fat because you burn calories simply. What cardio you do does not matter. Just do the one you can do every day because this is a habit. So again, you guys heard me talk about walking, right? Earlier in the day. That one is the easiest thing to do. That being said, my diet is in check. I use cardio as a nitrous, right? Think of Fast and the Furious 2. It's gonna be Vin Diesel versus Paul Walker, and they're about to race. And they're racing and they're just going exactly the same. What cardio is the nitrous. You hit the button and it just gives you a boost to go quicker. You're still gonna get to your destination without it. It just allows you to go quicker. But if you do too much of it, your car can break down like Paul Walker's did in that scene. So you want to be smart about the cardio you do for a number of reasons. Number one, you want to reduce the impact cardio can have on your body. If you're pounding on your body, it doesn't allow you to add that cement onto your muscle and the cement will fall off. But if you're doing less impactful ones, then the cement will stay on. So usually you'll lose more muscle doing more high intensity stuff. So the less intense, the better. And the second thing you want to make sure is that you have a high heart rate. So these are the different machines I recommend if you want to go from 30% to 10% because it's sustainable. Number one, the easiest one is walking on an incline. So what I've been doing recently, just because I don't have a Stairmaster at the moment, I'll get on a treadmill and for 2 minutes, I'll just change my pace to 3 miles per hour. That's the first speed that I put. And then after 2 minutes, I'll start increasing my incline, right? So that I'll start making it that I'm walking on a hill and I'll put my incline at max after 2 minutes, after a nice little warm up. So that will be about 15%. And I'm having a target heart rate of 140 beats per minute. And I stick my heart rate there for the entire duration of my cardio. I'm doing 30 minutes every day. My recommendation to you is work your way up to it because you might just gas out if you're doing 30 minutes. So maybe start at 2 sessions of cardio per week at 20 minutes, then do 3 sessions at 30 minutes, and then do 4 sessions at 30 minutes, then do 6 sessions at 30 minutes. So an incline treadmill is number one. You can use a Stairmaster and just get to the heart rate of 140 beats. That's the target heart rate. That's an indication of intensity. You can also use the elliptical as another source. If you're into rowing, you can use a rower. And the last one I'm gonna give you is you can use a bike. Remember, cardiovascular is working on your heart. That's what you're trying, cardio. And you know what? Because I'm feeling good, I want people to see success. On the screen right now, I'm sharing a cardio protocol that you can follow, start to finish, all for you. All I ask in return, just give the video a gentle thumbs up and share this with a friend. Because if you're gonna get in shape, have everyone around you get in shape too, man, be nice. Underrated habit number 7, you need to hit your diet every day consistently. So this is what I do, and I guarantee if you do the same thing, you will have success. So I'm just gonna give you guys an easy way to figure out what your macro should be, and then I'm gonna tell you how I build out my diet. Number 1, take your weight right now, and then multiply it by 12. Follow those calories for a week. That is going to be how many calories you need to eat to be able to lose fat. So for example, I'm 180 pounds, multiplied it by 12, that's 2,160. So those are the calories I need to eat to lose weight. Eat those calories every day. And then you're like, hey Mike, what about the macros? The easiest and simplest way is following a 40-40-20 rule. 40% protein of your total calories, 40% carbs, and then 20% of your fat. So if you break that down, you take 2,160 calories, multiply that by 0.4, 40%, and that's going to give you the total calories that should go towards protein, right? But to figure out how many grams that is, you have to divide it by 4. We know 1 gram of carb is 4 calories, and we know 1 gram of protein is 4 calories. So to figure out the grammage, we divide it by 4. So that will be 216 grams of protein. You don't even need to figure out your carbs because it's the same, right? It's 40%. So it's 216 protein, 216 carb. And then for fats, you take 2,160, multiply that by 0.2, and we know 1 gram of fat is equal to 9 calories. So we have the calories to figure out how much fats we need. Just divide that by 9, and there we have it. That's about 48 grams of fat. And you can follow those macros. Now, you can definitely do the calculator. You can plug it into an AI, do whatever you want. I just give you the simple version. But in my experience, all of that stuff is just theory. You need to put it into practice. You need to do it every day. If not, it's all useless. Like, what's the point? Just do it. So once you have those macros, take an app like MyFitnessPal, it's free. Take an app like Lose It on the App Store, it's free. And go into your fridge and scan all your foods that you want to eat so that you can hit those macros. And I'm even gonna make it easier. The hardest thing that everyone complains about is protein. So write this down. To be able to hit 50 grams of protein in every meal, I'll show you how. Use this mnemonic I created called 26810, right? So 2 scoops of whey protein in 26810 is equivalent to 50 grams of protein. 6 ounces of cooked chicken breast is equivalent to 50 grams of protein. 8 ounces of cooked steak is equivalent to 50 grams of protein. 10 ounces of white fish is equivalent to 50 grams of protein. And the exact same applies for carbohydrates. I'll show you a screen of that, of 26810 for carbs. As you know, I fast, so I don't really have a breakfast, but my first meal is going to be 1,200 grams of pumpkin and steak, right? So that's my first meal and I'm hitting my protein intake here. And that's meal number 1. And I eat the same food every day. You need to eat more carbs. Instead of pumpkin, you can have sweet potatoes. Instead of sweet potatoes, you can have brown rice. Then the second meal I have is wraps. I have 4 wraps with reduced carb, and I add veggies in there. And I also add my chicken breast. And the chicken breast is my second source of protein. And then the last meal that I have is a tub of ice cream. And as you notice, I have one meal that's high volume, that has a lot of fiber, and that keeps me full. And then my other 2 meals are healthy, but they're also enjoyable meals. Imagine eating 4 tacos a day and losing body fat. So you need to make your foods very enjoyable. And if you're interested in me building out all of this, building out your daily habits with me and my team of medical doctors, we are a premium product. We don't do Black Friday, but you can apply to work with us and we will guarantee that you will get into the shape of your life and improve your health dramatically. You'll live longer, you'll move faster, and you'll feel younger. So fill out the application to work with us. But that is everything in terms of nutrition. Guys, again, in the comments, share with people the wins you have received from the information that I've given on this channel. I need to see this obesity rate decrease. Damn. After with my meal prep meals, along with that, I make sure that I'm drinking my gallon of water a day, right? Water is so important. A lot of the times you're not even hungry, you're just thirsty. And the minimum amount of water I recommend for you is half of your body weight in ounces, in fluid ounces. So if you're 200 pounds, you need to drink about 100 fluid ounces, which is about 0.8 of a gallon. So what I actually do is I take my San Pellegrino and I mix it with some water enhancer, and that's the water intake I have. I have 3 to 4 of those bottles every day, and that way I make sure I'm hitting my water intake. That's habit number 8 that I do consistently. Simple habit number 9 is, for me, usually right now, anytime between 5 p.m. and 6 p.m., depending on how many meetings I have, is when I break my fast. And I break my fast every day at the same time, between 5 and 6 p.m., just depending on meetings. But when I do it this way, I just set a hard rule of eat, don't eat. Eat, don't eat. The reason you're fat is not because of your metabolism or anything, is because you just can't stop eating, and especially not eating. So when you're deciding when you eat, just make sure that you don't do mistakes. You're not drinking, you're not having city drinks or city meals for lunch with business partners because you're just not eating. You make sure you're drinking a coffee or water. But having this on and off allows me to eat like a king in the evening. Underrated habit number 10 is sleep. Sleep is going to be the catalyst for the next day. It makes everything more easy. So sleep is what's going to help you tremendously in terms of improving your testosterone levels, regulating your appetite, improving growth hormone levels. I know when I wasn't sleeping enough, I had to actually do 2 hours of cardio. I had to go to lower levels of calorie. It was so much harder to build muscle. All these things were against me. So you're just not working smart when you're not sleeping enough. And for most of you, if you fix your sleep, it will probably fix everything else. You'll just notice that it's all dialed in. You sleep 1/3 of your life, and the quality of that sleep will determine how much more years you live. So if you're compromising on that, you're shaving years off of your life. But without me getting too preachy about it, blue light blocking glasses are amazing to produce melatonin naturally. Make sure that you're not drinking caffeine 12 hours before bed or 10 hours before bed, and make sure you're just doing a good sleep routine. 10-3-2-1 is the simple thing I tell everybody as a foundation. 10 hours before bed, no caffeine. 3 hours before bed, your last meal. 2 hours before bed, your last liquids. 1 hour before bed is blue light blocking glasses, no more light exposure. And usually just doing those 4 things can get you into a good routine for good quality sleep. Those are my 10 underrated habits that I would do every single day if I had 30% body fat to get to 10% body fat. And believe it, because I've done it 5 times and I'm doing it right now. And I'll see you in a couple of months. I am rooting for you. And this video right here is the one on the diet that I was telling you about. And this video right here is actually a 1-hour video in even more detail of every single thing you need to do in terms of your diet. I made it a year ago. Probably an updated version is necessary. Cool, peace, bye.